وإيماني أضاء الكون والزمن بإسلامي.
Music. I'm going to spend some time on this one. This is going to need a pretty big answer. First, before I begin, everything in Islam has limits. Because we have what's called halal and haram. That means there's limits. There are things that are permissible in Islam, and there are things which are not. Now in worship, everything is like this. It's all haram. All worship is haram except what Allah made permissible. You cannot add anything to what Allah said is our worship. So when it comes to worship, don't do any worship unless you have a clear evidence for it. Okay? Everybody with me? If it comes to worship, if you don't have a clear evidence for it, don't do it. Otherwise you could be going with shaitan right straight to hell. But in the life, you can do anything you want to except what you find evidence against. So haram is only what we can prove from the Quran and from the Sunnah. So if we don't find the evidence there, then inshallah it's okay, you can do it. For instance, at the time of Muhammad, peace be upon him, there were no microwave ovens. Can we use a microwave oven?
Yeah.
Why? What's the proof? Well, because there's nothing in Islam against it. So you can do it. There's nothing like that. It said certain kinds of fire or certain kind of this or certain kind. No. Nothing said that. So you can do it. When it comes to music, some people would rather just say, forget about it. I'm not going to get close to it because I don't want to go to hell. Not even for 2 seconds. And first and foremost is that the Quran itself has a beautiful sound when it's recited, and some people refer that like it's like music, then they're talking about it. But this is not the definition we're giving music. But it is sweet and it's nice to listen to, isn't it? Immediately after that, there's something in Arabic language called Nasheed. Nasheed is this singing sort of like to us on various subjects about Islam, which we learn about our Aqidah, our beliefs, we learn about companions, we learn about some of the battles, we learn how to deal with problems, and it's a lot of fun to memorize Nasheed, and there were some very famous ones at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he liked. He actually liked hearing some of these things. So this is okay. But the content, what is being said, you have to know what it means so that you're not saying something that's against Islam. So don't just memorize something in Arabic and you didn't know the meaning. Make sense? You need to know the meanings. And this is not me saying this. Trust me. I was 38 years in the music business. When I came to Islam, I had to leave the business. I had made millions of dollars in that business. If there was something wrong with it, then I had to know. If there was nothing wrong with it, trust me, I'd still be doing it. Most of my life was dedicated to music. So it's not fun for me to tell you that I can't do that anymore. Allah tells us in the very same chapter of the Quran that I read to you already about children, Surah Luqman. He tells us in chapter 6, you can read it for yourself, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ, and from human beings, mankind, there are those who purchase idle talk to mislead from the path of Allah without knowledge. And it takes it by the way of mockery. For such there will be a humiliating torment in the hellfire. And what was this talking about? Does anybody know? Musical instruments. And how do we know? Abdullah ibn Abbas, who was one of the greatest scholars and knew the Prophet ﷺ very well, said so himself about this particular verse. He said, I swear that's music, that's music, that's music. Also about this, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that from my people there will be those who will consider illegal sex, wearing silk, drinking alcohol and the use of musical instruments as legal. He said that. And today we have people who do that. I have heard scholars, so-called scholars, make different forms of temporary marriage. You could be married for 2 hours, give the girl some money and just go on, and it's okay. Zawjamuta. And this is what in English? Zawjamuta, in English, prostitution. It's very serious. Some scholars said that was okay. Not real scholars, some people. Also, wearing silk. I've heard them say today, well, it's just some silk in the tie, and it's okay, it's no big deal. Drinking alcohol. I've heard this from several of the Gulf countries. They said, well, if it's just a little bit of alcohol, it's okay. Just a little teeny bit, it's okay. But they did it. And musical instruments. And today I read it from a so-called scholar in his book, which is called, should be called Al-Halal wal-Halal, because nothing's haram. Said that he quotes the same exact verse and the same hadith that I just quoted to you, and he said, but the way I look at it is it's okay. So, I'm telling you the way I looked at it. And if you accept what he said, have a nice time. And if you accept this, then you'll be like me and you'll have to give up the music.
أضاء الكون وزمن بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون والزمن بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون والزمن يحب الكون ألحاني فألحاني له سكن يحب الكون ألحاني فألحاني له سكن أخي الإنسان يا معنى حباه الله أسرارا فجاء يعطر الكون.
I told you to take a little time to answer this one about the music, and there's still a lot out there on this subject. But music is used very successfully by Madison Avenue today, by the ad people, to sell people on a lot of things. Because it reaches inside of you and grabs your emotions. That's what it does. Music gets your emotions, it gets you going. People say, I use it to calm me down. Why? Why didn't you listen to the Quran? Well, I use it to get excited. Yeah, it'll do that too. I use it when I'm angry. Yeah. Music will fit all of those things because it accents the natural emotion of a human being. And basically, if a person really gets into it enough, you can control their emotions by the songs that you play and the words that they hear. And they'll be like, ah, ah. And exactly what Shaitan is waiting for. Exactly. Be careful. Especially when you've been warned by the Quran, from the Hadith.
بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمن بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون والزمن بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون والزمن يحب الكون ألحاني فألحاني له سكن يحب الكون ألحاني فألحاني له سكن أخي الإنسان يا معنى حباه الله أسرارا فجاء يعطر الكون وينشر فيه أنوارا.
Muslims have traditionally stayed away from music. Now, there is something in these last days. All of us have concerns about a lot of subjects, and we really don't know exactly what should we do. We hear somebody give a good argument. Maybe my way is more eloquent than somebody else, or maybe somebody else is better at arguing than I am. So we go with the guy who has the best sounding voice, or looks the best on TV. That won't work. It's supposed to be Quran and Sunnah, right? Only that. So how will I then know? Because I'm getting confused. I saw this guy out here, man, he is so cool. This guy is like Mr. Muslim, and he's saying it's okay. But then this guy over here, he said, not okay. What should I do? What should I do? The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, told us a very beautiful general statement. He said, until the last day, the majority of the ummah, of the nation, us as Muslims, will never agree on what is misguidance. We will not agree on dalalah. So if you find the majority of the Muslims agreeing on something, that's probably right. If you're not really sure, look at that. A majority of Muslims, when I ask the question, be honest, across the world, now I'm talking about all countries, not just South Bend, Indiana, okay? Is music haram? They say yes. Knowing that, it makes us say, okay, let me stay away from it.
بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمن بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون والزمن بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون والزمن يحب الكون ألحاني.
One final point. There is something today, which I'm very sad to see, is people using what they call a tool to promote Islam. They call it dawah. But by the way, if it's not on the methodology or manhaj of the Prophet ﷺ, it's not acceptable to Allah. The Prophet ﷺ did not do a song and dance for people. In fact, he did not even like poetry. It was not his stick. He didn't like it. If anybody was going to use those tools, it would have been our Prophet ﷺ. But he didn't use that. So when you people say that, oh, well, this helps Islam. No, it doesn't. Allah gave you everything you needed for Islam. And you have people who are doing what they call rapping for Islam. It's wrong. You got people out here that have these rap groups. They say this is okay to do this. Some of you heard of Tupac, the one who died. He had a little posse, some guys with him, who also were rappers, one of them named Napoleon. I was with Napoleon last week in his home in California, and we talked about this subject in detail. And he said it is all from shaitan, it is misguiding.
أضاء الكون وزمن بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون والزمن بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون والزمن يحب الكون ألحاني فألحاني له سكن يحب الكون ألحاني